Hi, it is Jay Brandon Johnson, or Brandon as people call me, with Digital Liberation Front Live, a very special digital Liberation Front Live tonight. I have a couple students from my high school alma mater, and we are going to have a conversation tonight about a very special project to them that has become a very, very special project to me. So I'm going to bring them on air, and I'm going to let them talk about this moment where history is being made. They say you are trying to rewrite history. Ladies and gentlemen, they say you're trying to rewrite history. This is Kaya and Forrest. So yeah, I'm gonna let y'all introduce yourselves. Let's start, ladies first. Kaya, tell us.
Hi guys, I'm Kaya Pyle. I'm a senior at Seaman High School.
And Forrest?
So my name is Forrest. I am also a senior at USD 345.
Excellent. So I'm so glad you're here with us tonight. What's going on at Seaman? What's happening? Like, I graduated in '97, so I'm telling my age right now. I'm not ashamed. I turned 42 this month in March. All right. So I've been out of I've been out of Kansas for some time, but I've heard some things about my old high school that have been confirmed. Tell us a bit about that.
So for the longest time that any alumni can remember, there has been a rumor going around at Seaman that our founder, Fred A. Seaman, was part of the KKK. It has been confirmed now with hard evidence from newspaper clippings from the 1920s that he was in fact not only a member of the KKK, but an exalted Cyclops, which is basically a leader of the KKK. Since that came out, that blew up in like October, and it was a huge deal. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, our school is named after this KKK leader. This is horrible. We need to do something about this. And we all kind of expected our Board of Education to work on changing the name of our school. But that never happened. The issue was kind of swept under the rug. People stopped talking about it for a few months. People forgot about it. The Board of Education did nothing. They stood back. They said, we refuse to do anything about this issue until we get a grassroots community effort to bring it up to our attention. And here we are, us students, we are that grassroots community effort, and we are working to change the name of USD 345 from our founder, Fred A. Seaman, who was a KKK leader.
So, Forrest, what drew you to this? Because I mean, from my understanding, like you all are not the ones who discovered this. The journalists, the student journalists who actually discovered it, aren't here for a very specific reason. So, you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So the two student journalists who uncovered Fred Seaman's affiliation with the KKK, their names are Tristan and Madeline. They did not want to appear biased by getting involved in this. And so when they broke the story that Fred Seaman was involved with the Topeka KKK, they couldn't really do much because they wanted to maintain their journalistic integrity. So that just led to a bunch of other students to kind of fill in the power vacuum and kind of take up the mantle. And one of the biggest players in this is Rene Cabrera. He led a community conversation on race and racism earlier this year, actually. And that was kind of like the second rebirth of the Rename Seaman movement after the original, conflagration in October.
So Renee held this, I guess, like, this summit or, this talk in October, you said. What steps have been taken since then? Like what happened after he spoke on this issue? Because you're saying that's whenever you all, decided to take it to the next level. Mm-hmm. What is the next level that it was taken to?
Yeah, so we actually a week ago on Monday, we created a petition and we launched social media. So we have a TikTok, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, we kind of have a Twitter, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
And so the petition has gathered almost 4,000 signatures in the first week. And we've also done many interviews, not including this one, and made the front page onto state news outlets.
How many of you are there? Because I mean, I'm seeing the two of you here, and obviously we have the journalists who are working behind the scenes. But I mean, what are your numbers right now as far as active participants in advancing this?
So we have obviously Forrest and I, and then there's also Renee, and we have a fourth member, Molly McClyman, and then we've got the two journalists who are not working on this because they want to stay unbiased. So we're kind of the like main leaders of this movement. We also have a great group of volunteers for the Rename Seaman movement working with us. That's full of Seaman alumni. We have some Seaman employees and also students. And then on top of that, we have a student group of around 30 members working on this too.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are pretty deep as far as the school is concerned. How has this, how has this affected just the movement itself? How has this affected the culture at Seaman? I mean, what are you seeing in regard to students? Any kind of pushback? Like, talk to me about how things have shifted since this thing has started to pick up some traction.
Yeah. So when the first part of the movement was back in October, when we all just kind of took it for granted that the school board is going to do something, and then that just never happened, and it kind of fizzled out from there. But now with kind of the second one, we've kind of just built on the progress of the original movement, and I think we've started a lot more conversation than we did originally. We've obviously gotten a lot of attention, a surprising amount, and with that positive attention comes the negative attention, and some of our members that we've been insulted. They've hurled homophobic and racist slurs at us, but here we are, we don't care, and we're gonna change the name without them.
That's what's up. I salute that. So, I mean, as far as pushback, you have, the trolls. You have those individuals out there who are calling you all kinds of names. What's some of the administrative pushback that you faced? What is some of the pushback from the community as far as like adults? Counter movements. I believe there's a counter movement that's starting to come online.
So we haven't received any pushback from administration or the board. They're pretty willing to work with us. They haven't obviously done any action yet, but they are open to conversation about this topic. However, from our community, from adults and students alike, we've received lots and lots of pushback. People are accusing us of erasing history. I think they feel a loss almost if we were to change the name. They kind of think that, hey, that's our history. Seaman was what I grew up with and what I've always lived with. It can't change. And then because of that, they get very emotional, and we've received lots of slurs. I know in our petition, we have several signatures, more than 10, that are just straight racial slurs, and they're disgusting, honestly. And then we also have a community that has created a counter petition against our movement.
So as far as support is concerned, like what support are you receiving, and from who in particular?
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of support from the community and from journalists and
teachers as well.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten any support from the administration. They've been pretty adamant about we need to be having a conversation and we need to be facilitating discourse between the two opposing sides on this. And then nothing has really, they haven't set up anything. They haven't encouraged discourse, and a few of them have already, unfortunately, taken sides on this, even without, even without like hearing the evidence.
And so, I mean, who are these individuals? And they've made public statements to that effect, or this is just what you all have heard?
Yeah. So, some of the school board members. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to like be that person.
I understand.
But they've posted things on their Facebook. They've shared the counter petition without even sharing our petition and saying, hey, maybe you want to weigh in on these. And they just haven't provided a balanced viewpoint when really as community leaders, they should be leading the community towards a solution when in fact they're just taking it to my way or the highway.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that drew, I mean, it's a shame about, I mean, these are adults, or supposedly adults who are supposed to be encouraging, open and honest discourse between, you all as students and the community. But one of the things that pulled me in that I've seen to be a constant in regard to this matter is, a lot of older people share that same sentiment. So whenever I've been part of one of the Seaman alumni groups, the main one. It was like there's like over 3,000 people in there or whatever. And I really didn't, I chimed in, whenever I saw different things, going down with people that I actually knew, upvotes and, I like that picture, stuff like that. But then whenever this story hit, like it reverberated, through all of the active membership within that. As a matter of fact, it was engaged more than anything else. And this is before this, I guess like revival, when the story originally hit, it did that. And as I'm sitting there pushing back as an alumni, because like they're alumni, they have the opportunity to talk about, what they want to see happen. So I said, let me chime in and talk about what I want to see happen. And why this is so important, considering the fact that I grew up in that school district as a student of color and experienced the same racism that is being addressed in this situation right now. And, either I'm not engaged or, the posts that I'm making disappear if they make it to the wall at all. And so I'm like, this is some BS. Like, I am really, really trying to advocate my alma mater into something growing up. It doesn't go kids, but this whole project seems to support them are primarily among, the student body.
I know I was talking to my English teacher today, and she said she is a part of a few of the Seaman alumni group chats on Facebook, and she said, these adults are hashing it out like children, and they're being very immature, and are really not having civil conversation like they should.
Did he
Like we're having some technical difficulties.
Okay, I thought that was on my side.
Are you there? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. You said one file.
Sorry, it's still cutting out.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no.
One more time.
Here, I'm not sure what's going on with the stream. It was healthy. It's totally fine.
It's got to be the Kansas internet.
Internet.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not working.
Definitely still glitching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
What you with the last response?
I did not catch that.
Sorry.
You could just like text us the thing, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Technical difficulties. Hold on, guys. This is pretty typical for me. I live out in the country, so yeah. Yeah.
I think he's texting the question.
Okay.
While we're waiting, Forrest, what is one of the reasons that we should rename the school?
Yeah.
Why is this so important?
So one of the reasons why we should rename the school is that it's probably not a good idea that for being an example. Oh, now we're alone.
All right, great.
Great. It's probably not a good idea if we're trying to set an example for our students and young people like us. Uh, if we say that, hey, it's okay to be racist, we're gonna make excuses 100 years down the road. You can do whatever you want, and we're still gonna name a school after you. Like that is probably not the best way to go around, naming schools.
To me,
Yeah.
the school name should be right now. It is honoring who is holding that title, and we are currently honoring somebody who is racist and who supported racism, and we really want a community that is accepting.
Mhm. Is it back?
Almost.
Oh, oh.
I mean, we have this name that's supporting him, but we might as well
Mhm.
erect a statue of him
Yeah.
if we have this name.
I mean, Fred Seaman is quite literally still in the Hall of Fame, even though, thank you, yeah, we make do. But Fred Seaman is quite literally in the Hall of Fame. If you think that we're not glorifying him, he is quite literally in a place of honor. He's actually in it
in
twice.
2 places, yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't see how in 2021 we can keep honoring a man who wanted his legacy to be hate, who wanted his legacy to be oppression and authoritarianism and anti-democracy and anti-diversity. That is not who we are. That is not who we want to be, and that's not who we are going to be in the future. And it's time that we move on, not erasing history. We are acknowledging it, and we are saying, okay, that was in the past. We're going to do better now.
Exactly. Learning from our history, and now we should be promoting acceptance and inclusivity and creating a welcoming and healthy environment for students of Seaman, of USD 345.
Yeah.
And we're alone again.
Yeah. Oh, he's back.
Welcome back.
All right.
Oh, we got a few words out of him, then he froze. Oh no.
Okay. All right.
No, it's not working.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
It's kind of working.
Sometimes.
Oh no. We're trying. Oh,
All right, great. Um,
okay.
why a petition
Um,
forest? Why did we start
yeah.
a petition?
So the school board asked us, or not us directly, asked the community to create a grassroots organization to show there was support. And we thought that a petition is the best way to show it. So the Seaman community isn't just the people who live in Seaman school districts. It is also the people who graduated from Seaman, and it also the people around Topeka and the other areas of Kansas that interact with Seaman. My family actually lives out of district, and if we only asked those who live in the district, my family wouldn't get a say, even though I go to Seaman. And so we made the petition to show the strength of our grassroots movement.
The petition is really vital to
Mhm.
engaging the community, and it's a super easy way to let community members express their opinions. It's one way to show show the Board of Education how much support we have for this movement, how much the community really wants it.
Yeah. So one of the big questions we keep getting is, what do we want to accomplish? So, Kaya, what is our end goal?
So really, we want to raise awareness. Well, obviously, besides change the name of Seaman Schools, we want to raise awareness of Fred Seaman's involvement in the KKK throughout the Seaman community. And we want to allow people to fight for that inclusivity that Seaman is not promoting right now with their name. We want to create an active community conversation that allows people to talk about racism and how it's wrong and why it should not be in our schools.
Mm-hmm.
We also,
yeah,
I mean,
so
go ahead.
I totally agree with that. Like, we're not going to solve racism in our community with this, but it is a step in the right direction. And I don't believe that we can stamp out racism all at once. Like, in a week, it's gone. It's going to take a lot of like painful conversations and a lot of hard decisions, and it's going to be really difficult if that happens.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of time as well. And so this is just our current movements. It is one of the steps along the way towards the end goal of fighting racism.
By our opposers, I get told a lot, they say, well, changing the name isn't going to change anything. It's not going to fix racism. No, of course it's not. We don't expect to change a name and then boom, racism solved. Like, that's not what we expect at all. But we think that changing the name of Seaman Schools is a good first step.
Yeah, I think hard truths is definitely one of the running themes of this whole movement. Nobody wants to talk about this. It's not a fun conversation for either side. It's not something that you strive to do. Like, I don't wake up in the morning and think, you know what, I want to talk about how my school's founder was the leader of the KKK. But we need to talk about it because it happened, and we need to move on from that, and that we need to grow from this.
Exactly. I mean, another thing that I've been told a lot is that we are trying to erase history. In fact, I believe that's written on the counter petition in the description. It's like, these students are erasing history. We can't allow that. However, we're not erasing history. That history still exists, and that history is very important to USD 345. However, we are trying to not idolize somebody who promoted and supported racism.
Yeah, I think a lot of the current political and social and whatever climate is to talk about cancel culture, and that we are canceling Fred Seaman. But